What a wonderful young lady. You know, it exemplifies what we're all here for. Love and her successful, as I hear her successful academic and leadership abilities here at Northwest Rankin. And these young students behind me, don't they look good this morning? Y'all all look great. Now, as we thought about where on earth we might take the opportunity to bring to you our educational platform, we could have not picked a better place than this school. One, of course, you heard my children go here, so it's home. I've been here before this building was here. Nothing was more fun than being able to pull up as my children got older and didn't want to ride the bus, and pick them up after school, bring them in the morning, and have that time with them to talk about their lives and what they look forward to. And so as we selected Northwest Rankin, it was just all too easy to call Dr. Lynn Weathersby, because I knew immediately he was going to say, absolutely, we'll be prepared. I knew that Principal Charles Frazier was going to be here, and that we would have an opportunity, as we say, as a teachable moment for these students. You see, I've taught government at Mississippi College for nearly 6 years, so I love being in the classroom. I love being in front of those young minds and to be able to help them form thoughts and to begin to enjoy the process of learning. And so here we are today, not only to bring forward to you what we think is a very progressive educational package for the state of Mississippi, but also involve these children in hopefully a historic moment. That they will be able to tell their children and their children's children that they were there that day when the governor of the state of Mississippi came to Northwest Rankin and began to start the discussion. And that is what this is here today. It is a discussion for the future. Now, I want to thank all that are here. They were introduced earlier. Mark Baker and Josh Harkins. And Richard Morrison is here from the State Department. Many of you that have come today from far away. Wanda Jennings, thank you, madam, for being here today. Again, Dr. Julie Jordan with the Mississippi State University Research and Curriculum Unit. As we began the process of putting this together, we wanted to call on the very best. We wanted to touch as many of those that had interest in education as we could. And so we reached out to Mississippi State, their University Research and Curriculum Unit. And thank you, Dr. Jordan, for your work. We talked to superintendents. Sam Bounds, as you heard, is here today. We reached out to groups of superintendents. Just the other night, we had a town hall conference call with over 450 teachers. 450 teachers were on the line at one time as we began to discuss this innovative educational platform for the future. We hope that we can continue to carry on the conversation. And that's exactly what this will begin to do today, students. I want to tell you, as your civic teacher here today, that you will begin to see a process as we discuss these broad ideas, and then we will move to the legislative leadership, and we will bring in those groups that have influence over that legislature by providing information to them and hopefully get them to support. The plan may change, it may be adopted, it may be amended, but discussion must begin. It will be criticized, I can assure you of that. That's a good thing, though. That's the American process of government. But at the end of the day, we must be successful. All of our goals must be to create better schools, to have better teachers, to have a better outcome for the students of the state of Mississippi. So, let us begin. Now, there is little doubt that Mississippi's future and our economic development opportunities begin with a quality education. Now, not the system per se, but the quality education for every student in every classroom. We should accept no less than transformational change that results in measurable outcomes. Now, change is never easy. It's often not even appreciated. And for change's sake often doesn't work unless you know what the outcomes must be. unless it is beneficial to all of those that are concerned. Today, I will lay out a way forward to improve our ability to properly educate students by beginning with fundamentals to include the core of all of our formal education, reading. Reading. Let us begin. The statistics are harsh in Mississippi. And I bring this to you not to be critical, but to let you know the reality. Half of all third graders in the state of Mississippi are not proficient at reading based on state testing. 46% are not proficient. National comparisons are even worse, with 78% of fourth graders and 79% of eighth graders not proficient in reading and math in the state of Mississippi. These numbers must change. Now, it's unfair to criticize all schools and all teachers or all superintendents, and I'm not doing that here today. Don't take me wrong. It is also difficult to measure today's school against those of 20 years ago, when, for example, far fewer students took the ACT when I graduated from school so many years ago. And most of them that did take it were the more successful students that had the opportunity, and less than a routine opportunity, I might add, to attend college. I was the first child in my family ever to have that opportunity. In fact, here at Northwest Rankin, you have an 87% high school graduation rate and an average of 21.3 on the ACT. Give yourself a hand. Now, numbers like those just don't happen by accident. They come with good leadership and good teachers. Good teachers like Mrs. Jennifer Wilson, who has had more than 20 years teaching experience and was named by the President of the United States as a recipient of the Presidential Award of Excellence in Mathematics and Science. Mrs. Wilson, would you please stand up and be recognized? Congratulations. Congratulations. Now, the problems mentioned earlier are real and must be solved if we are to have that educated workforce needed for a successful future for Mississippi. The road to economic success in Mississippi passes through the schoolhouse door. That has been said before. I believe it could be contributed to William Winter, who I met with day before yesterday, to talk about this educational plan. But it is as true today as it was in the 1980s, as it was when we came into the revolution of industry in the 1930s. We must have an educated workforce. Today, I will cover 5 critical areas in this plan of framing Mississippi's future. They will include promotion policies for student success, quality teachers and leaders, early childhood education, school choice for Mississippi students, college and career readiness for all students. This will not be a simple or easy plan to understand. It will not be one that will be embraced by all people who hear it, but it will be the beginning of a great discussion of where we move forward in education. Promotion policies for students. Now, we have first the ability, I believe, to identify a required statewide screening tool for students in kindergarten, the first grade, and second grade, so that we might know what we're dealing with that child who's coming into the third grade. As a dyslexic child, I'm sure my teachers had great difficulty trying to teach that class with a child who could not read at the third grade level. So we need that screening. We need to begin to implement a literacy-based promotion policy in all districts. A literacy-based promotion policy. That means third grade students should not be promoted to the fourth grade unless they're scoring proficient on the Common Core state standards. And I know this is going to be a challenge, unless they're proficient at the Common Core assessment or the Mississippi curriculum test or the state-adopted assessment tools. School promotion in other grades should be eliminated based on district policies. We call it the third gate. If you cannot read on a third grade proficiency level in the third grade, we should stop there. Now, we just can't hold every child back, so our plan says we should implement a system of rigorous and persistent intervention, ensuring literacy success for those children. Local teachers and principals shall assist in designing this interventionist program. To have coaches is our plan, to bring coaches, reading coaches into your school districts so that we might be able to assist to move those third graders forward. I've asked in my executive budget recommendations for $15 million to help fund this program. It's not going to be cheap or inexpensive, but it is critical that we do that. We cannot allow half of our third graders to be promoted on to the fourth grade when they cannot read at a third grade level. I believe we must implement literacy and math-based promotion policies in all districts. In the 7th grade, under this plan, students shall not be promoted to the 8th grade unless they score proficient on Common Core assessment and the MCT2. Now, social promotion again and other grades should be eliminated based on district policies. But that 7th grade, again, all the research we find says if you're not proficient in reading and math at that 7th grade level, it does us no good to just socially promote you to the 8th. We put you on a path of failure. So those are the promotion policies and student success. Number 2, quality teachers. There's nothing better than a quality teacher and a quality leader. I knew who the quality teachers were. How? From my children. I could see the excitement. I could see the difference in their learning ability when an excellent teacher was in that classroom with them. We should dedicate ourselves to make sure that we have quality teachers in every classroom. How do we begin with that? Well, first, I think we must increase the standards for entering the teaching profession and recruit the best and brightest in college for teachers of the future. I would hope that some of the young children that are here today or some of the young adults that are here today will look forward to being a teacher in the future. How do we do that? We set a minimum entry requirement for teacher education programs at 3.0 GPA and 21 ACT. This is not easy. But to become a teacher in the state of Mississippi, we should require that you have a 3.0 and a 21 ACT. Some of the best and the brightest will achieve that. We established funding for 100 scholarships for high school students choosing to enter education with a 3.5 GPA and a 28 ACT. Scholarships provide the opportunity for those children that want to be great teachers to do so. I've asked the Mississippi Legislature for $1 million to begin this program. We must establish tuition-free programs for the last 2 years of college for students entering teaching education with the same 3.5 GPA and 28 ACT. So if you're in community college and you want to become a teacher, or you're in IHL and in your 2nd year and you believe then once you've made your mind up what you want to do in life, your mission is to become a teacher, we're going to ask the Mississippi Legislature, and have done so in our EBR, for another $1 million to begin funding those scholarship programs. We must develop a statewide high-profile recruiting campaign with funding support from both private and public sector so that we might convince those students that yearn for the classroom to be a teacher, to encourage them. We should implement performance-based compensation salary structure, merit pay. Now, this is going to be a radical concept, and I know it's not easy. But you know, in business, we found out something very unique. The harder people work, the more you should be able to pay them. Then the better the outcome will be. How do we go about doing that? And I know it's merit pay is a challenge. And that's why we look to the recommendations of the Mississippi State Research and Curriculum Unit Report. As we said earlier, Dr. Julie Jordan has helped us with this program, and we have 4 courageous districts that have said we will join the pilot program. We will step up. Lamar, Clarksdale, Rankin, and Gulfport have said we will help you test a pilot program for merit pay for teachers. How do we go about doing that? We use performance as measured by MSTAR. The Mississippi Department of Education is working on the MSTAR program to make sure that we have not only qualitative but quantitative information to be able to clearly determine the best teachers and then to compensate them. Now, this must be a fair program that does not affect the current pay process. Let me say this again. This will not affect the current step increase for teachers. This will not affect the current step increase for teachers. Do I need to say that one more time? Well, this will not affect the current step increase for teachers. So if you've been told that, it will not happen. This will be in addition to. This will be a program that will help those exceptional teachers and leaders benefit more. So that if they want to stay in the classroom, they don't think, well, there's no future for me here. I've got to go to Tennessee or other states, or I've got to be an administrator. But I really want to stay in the classroom. Let us have that career ladder opportunity for these teachers. We'll also use live tracks. Dr. Mimo Parisi is here today. This is a web-based system to where we can track the progress or failure of every child beginning at the pre-K level. And then we can adjust as quickly as we can, an early warning system, if you will, so we can identify the successful teachers, what they're doing, and let other teachers learn from them. Teaching the teachers, we've done that before, we can do it again. But merit pay must be attached to it. Establish new policy setting criteria for license renewal based on performance and evaluations. We're going to create a career ladder opportunities for teacher leader license in this state, as I said, so teachers might be able to promote themselves from within and not leave that classroom. We're going to say that we must end the practice of compensating teachers for advanced degrees not in their active field of practice. Again, this is not going to be easy. But if we're going to have teachers promoting themselves and through additional advanced education, let it be in their field of study. We need math and science and reading. Early childhood education. Blake Wilson is here today. MEC helped lead the effort to establish building blocks. It was privately funded so that we might be able to test the outcome to know how successful it's going to be. I have asked the legislature in my executive budget recommendation for an additional $3 million to continue the Building Blocks Early Childhood Education Program. 90% of our children, or maybe more in the state of Mississippi now, the young children, the 3 and 4 and younger, are in some type of daycare system. Now, whether it's DominiCare, like my children were at the St. Dominic's Hospital, or Head Start programs, we have the system. These children are there. What we must do is assist teachers in preschool classrooms to provide best practices for early education. Building Blocks has led the way. We must maintain that literacy-based curriculum implemented early in life to get that child